When you think of high-stakes heists, you probably imagine stolen diamonds, priceless art, or mountains of cash. But in 2011, Canada witnessed a theft so unusual, it left the world both baffled and impressed. The target wasn't jewels or money, it was maple syrup. Yes, maple syrup, one of Canada's most cherished and lucrative exports. This wasn't a small-time operation either. The thieves made off with $18 million worth of liquid gold in what became one of the most audacious and peculiar heists in history. But how did it happen? And why was maple syrup worth so much? Let's uncover the sticky details behind the great Canadian maple syrup heist. Maple syrup isn't just a breakfast topping, it's a cultural symbol and a booming industry. Globally, maple syrup generates hundreds of millions of dollars annually, with Quebec producing more than 70% of the world's supply. The Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers, or FPAQ, acts as a regulatory body, setting prices and maintaining a strategic reserve of syrup, a concept often compared to how oil reserves are managed. This reserve, stored in warehouses across Quebec, holds thousands of barrels of syrup, ready to stabilize the market in case of a poor harvest or sudden demand surge. Each barrel contains roughly 54 gallons of syrup, worth about $1,800 at market value. And while it may seem odd, this sticky, sweet liquid has become so valuable that it's often referred to as liquid gold. To thieves, it represented the perfect score. The story begins in 2011, when a group of thieves set their sights on a warehouse in Saint Louis de Blandford, Quebec. This facility housed part of the FPAQ's strategic reserve, thousands of barrels of maple syrup stacked and seemingly secure. But the thieves had a plan. Over several months, they carefully siphoned syrup from the barrels, replacing it with water to avoid detection. The operation was meticulously organized. Using rented trucks, they transported the stolen syrup to other locations, where it was sold on the black market to distributors and buyers willing to turn a blind eye to its origins. By the time they were done, they had stolen nearly 3,000 tons of syrup, enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool. The sheer scale of the operation left authorities stunned. The theft wasn't discovered until 2012, during a routine inventory check. An inspector climbing the stacks of barrels noticed something odd. One of the barrels felt unusually light. Upon closer inspection, he found it was filled with water, not syrup. Panic set in as investigators realized this wasn't an isolated incident. Entire rows of barrels had been emptied and refilled with water. When the final tally came in, the theft amounted to $18 million worth of syrup. To put that in perspective, it was over 10% of Quebec's annual syrup production. The heist shook the industry to its core, sparking outrage and disbelief. How could such a massive theft go unnoticed for so long? The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, launched an intensive investigation, dubbed Operation Sugar Shack. They uncovered a sophisticated network of criminals that included warehouse workers, truck drivers, and distributors. The thieves had exploited weak security measures and taken advantage of insider knowledge to carry out their plan. One key figure in the heist was Richard Vallières, a businessman who orchestrated the operation and sold the stolen syrup on the black market. Vallières and his accomplices were eventually caught and brought to trial. In 2016, he was convicted of theft, fraud, and trafficking stolen goods. He was ordered to pay over $10 million in fines and sentenced to 8 years in prison. The investigation also exposed a surprising black market for maple syrup, revealing just how valuable this commodity had become. Buyers as far away as the United States were implicated, further highlighting the international reach of the crime. The heist had lasting repercussions for the maple syrup industry. The FPAQ implemented stricter security measures at its warehouses, including surveillance cameras, alarm systems, and regular inspections. The case also brought attention to the high stakes of the syrup trade, solidifying its reputation as a surprisingly cutthroat industry. For the thieves, the heist was ultimately a sticky failure, but for the public, it became a story of fascination. The Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist has since been featured in documentaries, books, and even Netflix's series Dirty Money. It's a reminder that even the sweetest crimes can leave a bitter aftertaste. The Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist is more than just a quirky tale. It's a testament to human ingenuity, greed, and the unexpected value of something as simple as syrup. While the thieves may have failed to get away with their crime, their story continues to captivate the world. So the next time you drizzle maple syrup on your pancakes, remember, it's not just breakfast, it's liquid gold.